I didn't grow up in a house with guns. I don't hunt. I personally abhor hunting. But I was given a gun by a friend when I was 21 to carry in my purse for self-defense, and I was taught how to use it. A couple of years ago, my parents and I went to a cafeteria in Texas on a bright sunny day. We weren't in a dark alley where we weren't supposed to be. And as you all know the story, this madman drove his truck through the window. And he began shooting. Well, immediately, my father and I got down on the floor and put the table up in front of us. And this guy kept shooting. And you're thinking, what could it be? Is it a robbery? That's the first thing that generally comes to mind. And he keeps shooting. It took me a good 45 seconds to realize that this man wasn't there to commit a robbery. He wasn't there for a hit. He was there to simply shoot as many people as he possibly could. When I finally realized what was occurring, I thought, I got him. And I reached for my purse. He was maybe 12 feet away. Is it possible my gun could have jammed? Sure. Is it possible I could have missed? Sure. But I can tell you I've hit much smaller targets at much greater distances. But then I realized that a couple of months earlier I had made the stupidest decision of my life. I took my gun out of my purse and left it in my car. Because as you well know, in the state of Texas, it's sometimes a felony offense to carry a gun in your purse. I can tell you that I'm not mad at the guy that did this. As he continued, it was obvious that he was a madman. My father, at that point, said, I've got to do something. I've got to do something. He's going to kill everybody in here, and he rushed the man. No way. This guy turned, shot him in the chest. He went down, was obviously mortally wounded. For whatever reason, that made the man change directions and go off to my left. Shortly thereafter, someone at the back of the restaurant broke out a window. When I saw what looked like an opportunity to escape, I turned around and I grabbed my mother by the shirt and I said, come on, we've got to run, we've got to get out of here. And then my feet grew wings and I was out the back window. As soon as I got out, I realized that my mother had not followed me out. And as I learned from the police officers, she had crawled over to where my father was and cradled him until the guy got back around to her, put the gun to her head. She looked up at him, put her head down, and he pulled the trigger. My parents had just had their 47th wedding anniversary. She wasn't going anywhere. As I mentioned, I'm not really mad at the guy that did this. And I'm certainly not mad at the guns that did this. They didn't walk in there by themselves and pull their own triggers. The guy that did it was a lunatic. That's like being mad at a rabid dog. I'm mad at my legislators for legislating me out of the right to protect myself and my family. I would much rather be sitting in jail with a felony offense on my head and have my parents alive.
Why is it that they think it's okay to create laws that prevent law-abiding citizens from carrying firearms in certain locations when it's already been demonstrated and proven a number of times that people who don't obey the law and are hell-bent on violating the law or creating damage or shooting a lot of people aren't going to obey the law in the first place? Is you're making people who decide to do the right thing and obey the law, and you're turning them into victims. That's dangerous. It's naive and it's stupid. Gun-free zones don't work. If you're not going to effectively put up preventative measures such as metal detectors or have cops at every entrance, gun-free zones don't do anything but make victims of the people who abide by its laws. Plain and simple. Whether you're against guns or for guns, the concept of a gun-free zone, it just boggles my mind, especially considering the consistency by which we're getting these mass shootings. They don't work. Gun-free zones don't work, and they're dangerous. These shooters are losers. They're not Marines. Mass shooters don't want a challenge. That's why they go to gun-free zones. That's why they kill themselves when the police show up. Why not shoot up a gun shop? There are tons of people there. Why not a police station? Because they don't want a challenge. And it's incredibly frustrating trying to kill someone who's also trying to kill you.
and it's always loaded, and you know.
It doesn't get any more real than this. A 9mm handgun owned by 39-year-old Nabil Fawzi of Ypsilanti, used to stop a holdup at this Comerica Bank on Michigan Avenue in Canton. The robber, no match against Nabil's gun and his tough words. You told him what?
You're not gonna rob this bank today. And he said, I have a bomb. I said, I don't care, but you're not robbing this bank today.
And Kathy, was just after 7 o'clock last night inside this Aldi store here at 76th and Villard. At least one of the men stormed in there waving a shotgun despite the presence of 2 unarmed security guards. Still, the 2 couldn't have counted on a customer legally carrying a concealed handgun who opened fire on them. Milwaukee police responded to the report of an armed robbery and shooting inside Aldi at 76th and Villard, only it turned out the shooter wasn't one of the robbers. Instead, he's a 35-year-old Milwaukee man, a customer, who just got a concealed carry permit allowing him to carry a weapon. One of the suspects, a 20-year-old man, was shot and is being treated at a hospital. The other is in custody, too. Police believe they're linked to a string of similar robberies. Right across the street from the Aldi, Larry Rowell's Hart Automotive has been victimized recently, too. Just this weekend, wheels and rims were stolen right off a vehicle in his lot. He just got his concealed carry permit, too. Have you ever thought about what you would do in that situation? I mean, this is right across the street from your business.
I would do the exact same thing. If I felt that he was threatening people's lives, I use my gun on him, too. I'm really happy because now the criminals are going to be afraid, because who knows who's going to have a concealed carry or going to have their weapon on them. Nobody's going to know if the other guy has a gun now. I think it evens, levels the playing field.
A robbery suspect is dead after a late-night robbery in Englewood. Investigators now tell us a store customer gunned down the suspect.
Police say the suspect purchased a knife inside the downtown Smith store and then turned it into a weapon.
And then he pulled it out and just stepped right outside the Smiths, right in between the foyer, and just started stabbing people and yelling, you killed my people, you killed my people.
Within seconds, the knife-wielding man seriously injured 2 people.
There was blood all over. One got stabbed in his stomach, and one he got stabbed in his head, and he held his hands. He got stabbed all over his arms.
Then, before the suspect could find another victim, a citizen with a gun stopped the madness.
A guy pulled a gun on him and told him to drop his weapon or he would shoot him. So he dropped his weapon, and then the people from Smith's got him.
And officers had high praise for the gun-carrying man who ended the hysteria.
This was a really volatile situation that could have gotten even worse. I mean, we can only assume that, judging from what we saw, it could have gotten a lot worse. So he was definitely in the right place at the right time.
Dozens of other shoppers who too could have become victims are also thankful and still in shock from the experience.
Scary, actually. It's really scary. 5 minutes before I walk out to my car, and that could have been me.